It is 6 p.m. August 14th, and I'd like to open the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for this evening. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being televised live on local channel 18. No, 8, actually. Sorry, 8. I'd like to have us all rise, say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next, does anyone have a public comment regarding anything not related to any agenda items tonight? If so, please check in with Mary Ann to my left, far left. And you can have 3 minutes to make your comment. Anyone have any? Okay, thank you. In reference to public comment, I will, on each application, reach out to the public. If for some reason I were to forget, feel free to raise your hand, and I will make sure I call upon you, but I hope that I will not forget. Tonight, we have 4 regular members, and so I will be moving between the 3 associates. And I guess, Scott, you're going to be stepping down on one.
Just one.
So at that point, we'll have 2 associates. I'm welcoming, at this point, Mike Milbury to the board. It'll be a great addition. Yay.
We'll see.
I'm
Serve
sure you
judgment,
will.
please.
All right, having said that, could I have the first Wilson Grove, actually continue hearing read into the record? Charlie, would you like to read that, please?
Who's sitting on this one?
So sitting on this will be our 4 regular members, and why don't we go right at it? Well, this is just going to be an extension, so why don't we just say Charlie? How's that, sitting on this?
Okay. Agenda, August 14th, 2024, continued hearings. 4 Wilson's Grove. Owner, Bradford L. Crosby, trustee of the Bradford L. Crosby Family Trust, requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for a deck extension and alterations to a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling on property located in an R3 zoning district in the Papaneset Overlay District, map 118, parcel 66, Mashpee, Mass. Continued from July 10th, 2024 hearings. Applicant signed a withdrawal of the application.
Yep.
Do you have to sign on that, Marion? Yeah.
Did we already make a motion and approve this at the last meeting, or does it need a motion?
I think we need a
Okay.
motion.
All right, so can I have a motion to accept, well, first of all, is there a letter to be read into the record?
I didn't see.
I didn't see one, it's just that.
No? Okay, so then at this point, we will, can I get a motion to accept the applicant's request to withdraw?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I sign
What is it?
for him?
14?
Ron, you should have Scott sign it too.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. So who's the first signature in here? That's the applicant's signature, and he signed on July 23rd? I mean, yeah, July 23rd?
What do we date it?
No, you can date it today.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. That's why, that was, remember the last time we had a problem with this issue, and I led the board down a bad road, and then I actually put the date that the other person signed?
Ron, can I ask a question about that?
Certainly.
Once a withdrawal like that occurs, does it ever get to come back to us again?
Yeah.
Without prejudice.
Reapplication, though.
So when stuff comes through, I can
But
sign
they
it.
start
If
from
it
the
is
beginning.
not stated prejudice or without prejudice, then technically it's without prejudice.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
So I can sign
gotta
anywhere, right?
resubmit, pay a fee again.
Say so.
It's better to do it that way than to get denied.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you,
I think it makes better sense to withdraw on some of these applications than to continually extend.
I remember that one. I think he has some options to get that approved, but he needs to do some research. It was not withdrawing it.
Charlie, is this you?
It's Charlie.
So we don't need to begin yet, but the next one will be Amy Brown. I will have 4 regular members, and why don't we say George, because can't use Mike, just for your knowledge, Mike. whenever there's an extended, continued hearing, you need to sit on the original and/or read the minutes so that you are brought up to speed. Am I correct in that statement? So that being said,
Was I on the original?
well, if you weren't, you read the minutes, right?
Of course.
There you go. So in the future, if you do miss a meeting and you were to read minutes, you then could step in at the next meeting on any continued public hearing.
Right.
Just so you know.
Yep.
Okay.
So that being said, it'll be 4 regular members, and it will be George in reference to 37 Amy Brown. And Mike, do you want to read Amy Brown into the record, please?
37 Amy Brown Road, owner Brian W. Anderson requests a special permit under 174-71.1 and 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise a pre-existing, non-conforming, single-family structure and replace it with a new single-family residential structure and a detached garage located in the R3 zoning district, map 109, parcel 4, Mashpee, Massachusetts, continued from May 22nd, July 10, and July 24, 2024 hearings at the request of the attorney.
Thank you, Mike. Before you start, that's what I was gonna say, but I didn't because we weren't on the record. I think in the future, it's very, well, I know in the future, it's very important to be complete in these applications.
Yes.
I'm saying to Mary Ann that we want to make certain that if applications are not complete, we don't accept them.
Yep.
Because just think this through, what could have happened is, so you've got 4 members here now, and if, let's say, someone had to step down, and all of a sudden you're 3, you get into a scenario where it could be a problem.
No, I completely understand, and I appreciate that, so, absolutely. Advise
Thank
my,
you.
you know, there's, and I don't need to go down the rabbit hole, I mean, just trying to get things done with conservation, holding things up, people, you know, so.
Totally understand, but I can't,
No, I understand the,
I can't change the world because of your issues that you're having with another board.
I understand that, so I appreciate that, and
I
so,
remain very receptive, and I understand I possibly understand what you're going through, but I can't buy into it completely.
and that's fair enough, and I appreciate that, and I
That
advise
being
my
said,
clients to be
feel
prepared.
free to present.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Welcome, Michael, to the board. Attorney Christopher Corain, representing Brian Anderson. He is with me tonight, behind me. He is the owner of the property at 37 Amy Brown Road. So what we are proposing is a raise and replace. It is raising the complete structure except for the foundation. So asked David how he wanted to proceed. He said that should still be a raise and replace, even though the foundation isn't being torn up. But the whole house is being torn up. And so the majority of the house is going back on the existing foundation. However, there are some additions, you know, some expansion to the existing dwelling from what is existing now. So we are proceeding under 174-17.1 and 174-33 because it is within 50 feet of the wetland resource area. There's no flood zone, so we're not worried about the flood zone issues, but it is within the salt marsh, I think. It is located in the R3 zoning district, which requires a 40,000 square foot minimum lot area, 150 feet of frontage, 40-foot front yard setback, 15-foot side and rear setbacks, 20% lot coverage max, and we have the 50-foot setback to wetland. So in this particular case, we have 3 nonconformities. The first is a lot nonconformity because the lot only has 23,845 square feet, so it's nonconforming. We are nonconforming to the 50-foot setback to wetland, and there is a shed on the property that is greater than 120 square feet, and it is only 7.7 feet from the property line. So the existing lot coverage, again, we don't have any flood zone issues, so this is your actual number, is 14.67%. We will, with the new structure, and there is a garage that is, meets all your setback requirements, it's outside of the 50 feet, and it's going to be completely conforming. With all of that, you're increasing to 19.97%. So again, we are under the 20%, that is under the current way we calculate lot coverage. The shed that is on the property, which is 7.7 feet, is being removed. So we will be eliminating that nonconformity. The house will be building code compliant. We are installing an IA system, so the innovative alternative septic, dry wells. This property has been approved by conservation, so it's gone through that process. We are not creating any new nonconformities. The proposed house will actually, other than the 50-foot setback to wetland, will comply with all your current day zoning requirements. And as I always do, I've given you photos of some of the houses in the surrounding neighborhood. I feel like this is certainly consistent with other redevelopment in the neighborhood. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
So Charlie, could you read letters into the record, please? Anything that is,
I have
whether it be town-
conservation first.
Great.
Conservation, the resource area is a buffer zone to salt marsh, buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland, buffer zone to coastal bank, an area of critical ecological concern. Nature of intent, notice of intent permit application approved 4-1, raise and replace of existing structure and addition with rebuild existing, deck approval due to increased mitigation, reduction in access path width, planting of 5 native trees, and planting, I'm sorry, I didn't read, pasting deck, pier, floor system will check.
Updating, you missed
better-
updating.
Yeah, let me go back.
After
Yeah,
5
I was
native
reading my
trees.
notes rather than that. Okay, raise and replace of existing structure with additions, rebuild of existing deck was approved due to increased mitigation, reduction in access path width, planting of 5 native trees, and updating the dock, pier, float system will create better conditions for the ACEC. And I don't think I have anything else, Mary Ann, relative to that.
Do you have anything else?
There was a Board of Health.
Board of Health.
Board of Health comments.
Okay, we should read the Board of Health then, if there is a Board of Health.
Yeah, I got it there. Board of Health, septic design is for 4 bedrooms. That's it.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay, board questions.
I assume, Chris, you want to withdraw 17417 petition?
I didn't ask for 117. I was just saying.
did.
No, it should be 17.1. I was just saying because the foundation's remaining, it's kind of like a hybrid between the two things, but Dave recommended 17.1, so that's how we proceeded.
I thought you would petition for both 17417-1 and 17417.
No, 174.33, your 50-foot setback to wetland, those were the two. No,
Sorry.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, all the nonconformities have been removed,
That is-
other than the 50-foot setback.
that
to
is
wetland.
correct. That is correct.
So this lot will become conforming other than that.
Other than that, so your lot coverage is conforming, all your side and rear yard setbacks are conforming, so absolutely correct. It is just simply the 50-foot setback to wetland.
Any other board questions?
Yeah, it says the existing boardwalk to be rebuilt. So I assume conservation had no issues with that?
Well, I think went through a couple of meetings with conservation, but it was approved. So they've approved it. They've approved that boardwalk. That has gone through conservation and received approval.
Okay.
So to summarize, it's on the existing foundation, most of it.
Most of it, yes.
It's got a new FAST system, so it's an AI system.
Correct.
And you're removing all the nonconformities excluding the 50-foot setback to wetland.
That is correct. And everything that's being done on the lot has been approved by conservation, including the pier walkway system.
So any other board questions?
No.
So, well, the dwelling is being replaced, and I see a lot of decks there. So I assume the decks are gonna be replaced just right where they are, correct?
Yes, everything is basically staying in the same footprint of what's existing, other than what you see here in the dark brown here are.
That's an addition,
Those
correct?
are additions to what's existing. It's a very unique house. I don't know if anybody went to look at it. It looks like an observatory almost. It's very. It's a geodesic. Yeah, geodesic dome on the top. So kind of a unique property, or a unique structure, I should say.
Lovely.
Okay,
I have no issues.
I'm good.
All right, so that being said, Mr. Morris is not here. Audience input, anyone in the audience having to say about the application? Okay. Yeah. All right, seeing none, does the board have any other questions? All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Make that motion to close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Again, so no more comment at this point. Motion in reference to the application, please.
Go for it.
I guess.
Okay, 37 Amy Brown Road. Owner Brian W. Anderson requests a special permit under 174-17.1, 174-17, and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise a pre-existing non-conforming single-family structure and replace it with a new single-family residential structure in a detached garage located in the R3 zoning district, map 109, parcel 4, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number one, the board has determined...
Charlie, excuse me one second. Chris, you're shaking your head for a reason. What's the problem?
Yeah, my application is under the raise and replace. So I know, Bill, for some reason, there is a 174-17, but I don't think I applied for it that way.
I think you need to just withdraw it.
Yeah, that's fine.
because
I'll
it was
withdraw.
published that way.
So
I
before we
believe.
make that motion, we've got, if I could, sorry, Charlie, I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to.
Oh, do that.
So at this point in time, there seems to be an error, which we can correct, not a problem. So we're gonna have to ask for a withdrawal then, Chris, on 174-17, right?
Yes, so I would, so on behalf of the applicant, I would request a withdrawal under the bylaw for 174-17, which is a request for a written finding, which we don't need because we're seeking a.
So you were asking for a withdrawal of that?
Right, so
174-17, correct?
Yep, I am.
Do I have a motion in reference to that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Charlie, please?
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. 37 Amy Brown Road, owner Byron W. Anderson requests a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise a pre-existing non-conforming single-family structure and replace it with a new single-family residential structure and a detached garage located in the R3 zoning district, map 109, parcel 4, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number one, motion. The board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a special permit under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 9. Number two, site plan prepared for Brian Anderson, Project 37 Amy Brown Road, Mashpee, Mass, sheet number 1 of 1, date January 25, 2024, prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by Matthew C. Costa, number 52282, and Charles T. Rowland, number 52699. Number three, building plans, prepared for Anderson Residence, 37 Amy Brown Road, Mashpee, Mass, project 2404, date August 6, 2024, A1, existing footprint / front elevation, A2, first floor plan, A3, second floor plan, A4, exterior elevations, prepared by K. Marshall Works Design. Number four, condition on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. Number five, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. Number six, condition that the applicant seek and obtain building department review in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town bylaws prior to the application of a building permit. And number seven, the board finds under 174-17.1 and 174-33 that the proposed project is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood, that there is sufficient parking, and that there are no new nonconformities being created.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
You are welcome.
Chris, I wasn't trying to nitpick. I just want to make sure nothing can blow back
Yeah, I mean,
by the 174-17 application.
No, I think it was a good pluck.
Good call, Bill.
Keep that for your file.
like I said, there may have been
Send them back.
some confusion because the foundation is staying, so, could have been could have gone under either one.
Right.
On the same note, who is overseeing the tree bylaw right now?
That could be Tom.
Tom Fadala.
Oh,
The building department is
it was planning.
Is it building? I thought it was planning.
It was planning, but planning doesn't do it because of what?
I asked Dave, he said, no, we're gonna look at it, but we're told not to.
Whatever.
Maybe get started on that.
You know?
Oh, Dan was one of the only ones the only ones that showed up to that meeting.
Only two?
Surprised more people didn't come to that meeting, but they didn't come. I don't know why Sharon sits here. Why no one else wants
Because I have to sit under that.
to know.
That is
Can't you
crazy.
believe that?
I gotta tell you,
I got a hammer in the nail.
I can't believe it. Anyway, are we all set? Mm-hmm. All right, so sitting on the next will be 4 regular members along with Mike. Could you read the next continued hearing to the record, George, please, which will be Pond Street?
4 Pond Street, owners Samuel Peter DeLois and Patricia Jean DeLois request a special permit under section 174-17.1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family residential structure on property located in R3, R-3, and in the Papaneset Overlay District, map 117, parcel 257, Mashpee, Mass. Continued from July 24, 2024. Hearings at the request of the attorney.
Good evening again, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Attorney Christopher Corain, representing Sam and Patricia DeLaw. They are the owners of the property at 4 Pond Street. They are seeking a special permit from this board under 174-17.1 and 174-33 to raise and replace an existing single-family dwelling. This property is located in the Pompanesett Overlay District, so your minimal dimensional requirements are 6,000 square feet, 60 feet of frontage, 25-foot front yard setback, 15-foot side and rear setbacks, 25% lot coverage, and the 50-foot setback to wetland, which applies to any district. We have 5 nonconformities. One is this property is located wholly within the flood zone. So for zoning purposes, your lot area is 0 square feet, despite the fact that common sense tells you that there is 7,774 square feet of lot area on this property. We obviously don't meet the 50-foot setback to wetland. Lot coverage is 100%. Your front yard setback to Pond Street is 20.4 feet, so that's non-conforming where it needs to be 25. And your rear yard setback to Pond Street is 12.6, where the requirement is 15 feet. So again, we are raising and replacing, this, I should say, additionally, as a percentage of the total lot area, the coverage currently is 24.9%. So if you take the existing structure index, divide it by the 7,774, it's a 24.9% lot coverage, structure coverage.
Chris, let me see, excuse me for 1 second.
Yep.
Guys, when you look at the site plans, there's 2 different pages. Some people got 1, some got 2. There's an existing conditions and a proposed. So look at what you have. You might be looking at existing, you might be looking at, this one, there's stapled, there's 2. But this one, there's only 1, so I'm not sure what everybody has for
Got
site
it.
plans.
So it should be other.
So page 2 says site plan. That's
Yeah,
proposed.
That's the proposed.
Got it.
Yeah, they did it as 2 different plans, one with proposed and one with existing conditions.
Just don't want people looking at the existing, what are you talking about? All right, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. So for this particular project, again, it's a raise and replace. So we are actually decreasing the amount of structure on this property. So currently, there is 1,940 square feet of structure. We are reducing that to 1,732 square feet. So as a percentage of the total lot area, we're going from 24.9% to 22.3%. So there's a decrease there. The front yard setback to Pond Street, which is currently 20.4, is being eliminated. So we're going to becoming a conforming condition at 25.7 feet. So that will become conforming. The rear yard setback is staying the same at 12.6. We're not getting any closer. It's going to stay the same. We are going to be flood zone compliant, we're going to be building code compliant. There's an IA system going into this property. Dry wells are being proposed. This has been approved by conservation. There's no increase in the bedrooms that currently exist, and importantly for 174-17.1, we're not creating any new nonconformities. We have sufficient parking, and, you know, based on the fact that we are eliminating a pre-existing nonconformity, the front yard setback, that we are decreasing the size of the overall coverage of structures, that we've been approved by conservation, that we're flood zone compliant, that we're building code compliant, that this structure will be consistent with other development in the neighborhood, that we are not creating any conditions which is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. So, with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Charlie, could you read in the record any?
We have Board of Health and Conservation, received 8/9/2024 from the Board of Health for Pond Street. No comment to remain three-bedroom with the addition of an IA septic system per Mashpee 1,000-foot IA regulations. Pond Street received 8/12/24, Conservation Department comments. Resource areas bordering vegetated wetland and LSCSF. Application was approved with a 3-to-1 vote due improving water storage capacity on-site, dry well install, flood compliant basement, IA septic upgrade, and creation of naturally vegetated areas where none existed prior.
Any other letters, Charlie?
There were none from...
Mary Ann, you aware of any other letters? Okay, so board questions. I have a quick one if I can.
Go for it.
So I don't see Baxter and I here.
They're not here. But we're talking about dry wells,
We are.
he did said he'd put it on his plan.
He said 25 year.
That is
NOAA or DEP.
But I know
It's a
he,
secret.
but I know he did mention that when I asked him.
No,
He
he
said it
did
was.
put 25
he
year,
put
which
25
is,
year.
I'm okay. The bottom line is I we've got to set some policy in place, and we haven't, so it's our fault. But
But
at least he did say 25 year.
Right.
I just get concerned when the whole lot is in a floodplain.
Right.
And I'm just trying to understand what that is, but I did just see that it says 25-year storm.
And I am trying to get the engineers to put those information on the plan.
And if they're not, they should minimally show up,
Yeah.
because they're gonna be questioned.
Right, exactly.
All right, so I've asked my questions. Board questions?
Good.
Okay.
You guys know the drill.
No, been here a few times.
Well, they know the drill, but they didn't, well, whatever, it's fine, it's fine.
Geez, let's not pick now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick. So, board
Nice
questions,
job.
letter from abutters, Mr. Morris is not here. Audience input? No?
Seeing none?
Boy, I'll tell you, I'm gonna go back to board questions again. Have we looked at the site plan closely? It's an AI system, which is great.
I was looking at more at the structure.
I mean, I went through it and I see that they've actually reduced lot coverage. And correct me if I'm wrong, just so I understand, lot coverage has been reduced.
Yes.
Yep.
One nonconformity is now conforming.
Correct.
And no nonconformity is being expanded.
That is correct. So the one nonconformity, which is 12.6, is not being intensified. It's going to stay at 12.6.
Okay.
That's the rear setback.
That is the rear setback. So yeah, we have that unique situation where we have two rear yard setbacks, two front yard setbacks, but it's not being intensified. It is.
And at least we have a note in the plan showing a 25-year storm design
Correct.
for the basin.
And
All right.
conservation approval.
Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make that motion to close the public
Do
hearing.
I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion in reference to the application, please? Charlie?
Second.
Motion relative to 4 Pond Street.
first.
Owners Samuel Peter Deloy and Patricia Jean Deloy request a special permit under 174-17.1, 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family residential structure on property located in an R3 in the Papaneset Overlay District map, 117, parcel 257, Mashpee, Mass. With the following conditions. Motion. Number one, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a special permit under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 9. Number 2, site plan, prepared for Sam Deloy, 4 Pond Street, Mashpee, Mass., date June 6, 2024, sheet number C2.0, scale 1 foot equals 10 feet, 6/24/24. Architectural information prepared by Baxter Nye Engineering, stamped and signed by Matthew Eddy, P.E., number 43183. Could I just stop for a minute there? Should that be 1 inch equals 10 feet rather than 1 foot equals 10 feet?
I don't know, I would look at the plan.
Can you
Scott,
tell
wanna
from the
look at-
plan?
Is that on the site plan? What
Yeah,
plan
that's
reference?
just
Well,
one
what's in the
apostrophe
motion is that
short.
1 foot equals 10 feet.
What specific plan, though, just prior to that?
Under,
Site plan.
sheet number
you look at-
C2.0.
It's gotta be 1 inch.
Yeah, it's gotta be 1 inch.
Yeah,
Gotta be
certainly.
1 inch.
Yes, it certainly is.
1 inch, read it in as 1
1
inch.
inch.
C 1.0 and
Yeah.
1 inch.
C2.0.
1 inch equals 10 feet.
Okay, yeah, let me just change that here.
Yeah, this is,
All right, site plan, prepared for Sam, number 2, Sam Deloy, 4 Pond Street, Mashpee, Mass., date June 6, 2024, sheet number C2.0, scale 1 inch equals 10 feet, 6/24/2024. Architectural information prepared by Baxter Nye Engineering, stamped and signed by Matthew Eddy, P.E., number 43183. Floor plans, prepared for Deloy, 4 Pond Street, Mashpee, Mass., date June 14, 2024. A1.1, first floor plan, second floor plan, A2.1, elevations A2.2, elevations prepared by HPA Design, Inc., Architects. Number 4, condition on all town departments' comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. 5, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain review with the building department in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town general bylaws prior to the application of a building permit. And number 7, the board finds under 174-17.1 and 174-33 that the proposed project is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood, that there is sufficient parking, and there are no new nonconformities created.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't know like that.
Hey, these guys know the drill.
Yes, they do.
on house plans with multiple pages, you have to stamp each one. It's just because it's different.
Not that we're ready yet, but the next one will be 4 regular members, and so Mike just sat. Have you sat on any tonight?
I did one, I think.
George, you sat on one, right?
Charlie's up.
Charlie's,
Okay, Charlie,
Okay.
there you go.
You got
We're not
two-
ready yet,
You
but-
got 2 different site plans you gotta sign. I'm getting this, I'm figuring this out.
Good, you can sit there.
What are we on, Ron? 112 Captain's Row?
Mike, here you go.
And house plan.
Yeah, one second, Mike.
I got it.
Okay, so again, 4 regular members, Charlie, see maybe, George, would you like to read the next one, which will be 112 Captain's Row, please?
112 Captain's Row. Owner Robert Valletta requests a written finding under section 174-17 and sections 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to remove an existing pool spa and replace it with a new, slightly larger pool spa in the same existing patio on property located in an R-3 zoning district, map 96, parcel 17, Mashpee, Mass. continued from July 24, 2024 hearings.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a land surveyor with the BSC Group, representing the owner of the property, Mr. Vallada. When I was here at the last scheduled meeting, there were two items that the board wanted further discussion on. One was the wall that is existing and is going to be replaced, pulled back. If it is 4 feet, it is considered a structure. The wall that we are proposing from the bottom of the footing to the top of the wall is less than 4 feet, so it is not considered a structure. The second item was the percentage lot coverage. I had given you percentage lot coverage based on the new regulations, which had 38.8 existing and 40.1 proposed. At the meeting, we looked at the numbers, and based on the overall lot, it would be 14.2 existing and 14.6 proposed. And other than that, I'd be glad to answer any questions the board may have.
Was it added to the plan? I don't have the plan in front of me, in reference to the height of the wall?
Yep, it says it right here.
Good.
Rebuild wall 1 foot back from existing location wall to be less than 4 feet in total height.
Okay, so why don't we, any letters that need to be read into the record?
We have Conservation and we have Board of Health.
Why don't we read them in the record, please, Charlie?
Board of Health dated 8/9/24. No comment.
That's
It was an easy one. Conservation.
Great job reading it.
Conservation, 8/12/24,
bring it
for
to us.
Captain's Row. Resource area, riverfront buffer zone to the Mashpee River, and buffer zone to coastal bank. RDA permit application for installation of a swim spa in place of existing impervious patio received a negative determination with the unanimous vote. Existing area is hardscape patio with no expansion of hardscape footprint and native plantings on the coastal bank. And no other correspondence that I'm aware of.
Okay. Board questions?
I think we covered this last time you were here. I had a question about the drainage of the water in the pool at winter time. And I believe you,
There's a note on the plan that specifically says, if needed, swim spa will be drained by a vacuum truck and will not be drained in any manner on the site.
okay. I'm surprised Conservation or Board of Health didn't say that in there.
It was on the plan, and it was one of the requirements of the
Probably
Conservation
why it was
Commission.
made part of the plan.
If you look at the
I'm
site
thinking-
plan where it's noted, it says Conservation Commission approval in May of 2024.
So they may have raised it.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
They may have raised it, and he had to add it.
Got it.
Any other board questions? Okay, seeing none. Audience questions. Chris? No? David Morris is not here. Done. Any other board questions? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make a motion to close the public
Do I have
hearing.
a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion in reference to the application? Ollie?
Yep. Okay, 112 Captain's Row. Owner, Robert Valletta, requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to remove an existing pool/spa and replace it with a new, slightly larger pool/spa on the same existing patio on property, located in an R3 zoning district, map 96, parcel 17, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Motion. Number 1. The board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a written finding under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 6. Number 2, certified plot plan with proposed swim spa at 112 Captain's Row, Mashpee, Mass, prepared for Shea Custom Carpentry, date May 29th, 2024, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, revised 8/1/24, lot coverage calculations, prepared by BSC Group, stamped and signed by Kieran J. Healy, number 48135, revision date 8/1/2024, lot coverage calculations. Number 3, existing building plot page at 112 Captain's Row, Mashpee, Mass, date May 29th, 2024, prepared for Shea Custom Carpentry, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, prepared by BSC Group. Number 4, condition on all town departments' comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Conservation Department and Board of Health comments. Number 5, any changes to the plan will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, the board finds that the proposed project under 174-17 and 174-33 is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood.
Am I wearing you out, Charlie?
No,
Okay. Do I have a second?
but I am going to have a glass of water.
Second.
All those in favor? If I am, I mean, you can hand the motions to someone else if you'd like. Okay, just want to make sure.
I know it's a tough job, but I'm capable of doing it.
I know you are certainly
There you
capable.
go,
The question
Charlie.
is, I just don't want to wear you thin, that's all.
Very capable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
10 or 15 years ago, I would have loved to have been worn thin, somewhat heavier then.
You know, 10 or 15 years ago, we all would have welcomed you thin.
Okay, moving right along.
So not that we're gonna start yet, but 4 regular members, and what we're gonna do is, I'll go with Mike on this one only because this is gonna be a little different, so I'd like you to understand
Okay?
how this next one will go. But not yet, Mike, but it'll be 71, all right, when we're ready. Not quite ready yet.
71.
So what I'm gonna do is I'll have you sit, Mike, and I'll also have you read it when it's time.
Okay?
This is a little different, so it'll be good. Good practice for you.
What a guy you are.
No, he's doing great.
Are we ready?
No, we're not ready.
No.
I catch heck because if
do you
I don't
say
get
that?
everything back,
have a
like, see
question.
that
How do you
document
say
right
that
there? I have
road?
to get it baback, or I get yelled at.
What's the proper pronunciation of that road? Is it Worcester?
Ask Mike.
Hoopo.
I don't know, seriously.
Hoopo.
All right, that being said, Mike, would you read 71 Hoopola Road into the record, please?
What did you say it was? Hoopo. 71 Hoopo Road, petitioner Strong Tree Engineering LLC requests a special permit under 174-17-1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise a pre-existing, non-conforming structure and replace it with a new single-family structure, an accessory dwelling unit, ADU, on property located in an R5 zoning district, map 57, parcel 45, Mashpee, Mass. Owners of record, Stephen K. Kayer and Allison E. Kayer, received letter from applicant requesting a continuance until August 28, 2024 hearings.
Can we read the letter into record, please? Into the record. Do you have that in your folder?
I think I do.
If you could read that,
Mar-
please.
Mary Ann, can we be added to the 8/28 hearing? Our engineer can't submit the changes by the deadline. Thanks, Stephen.
Has he signed the appropriate documentation? Okay. So I'd like to get a motion in reference to the acceptance of this letter and the request to an extension of August 28, 2024 in reference to 71 Hoopola Road. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, thank you, Mike.
Why was this so different? Pretty simple to me.
You can't always trust him.
Doesn't matter what I sign.
Because we didn't go, so this was just an extension, Mike? There was not, we
Yeah.
didn't hear anything, we didn't vote to close the hearing, we didn't vote on a new, you know.
No, we didn't.
Exactly.
Kind of boring, actually.
I'll give you some good ones, how's that?
Right.
I don't want you bored.
We do.
We do like boring.
Nothing's wrong with
Better than being sued.
boring's okay.
Like this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll do next one, be the 4 members, and George, you can sit on this one, if that's okay.
Sure.
And Mike, when we're ready, if you could read it 6 Cantor Way, please, but not quite yet.
The new hearings, yep.
All the way to Mike.
That's the first one, Mike, isn't it?
Second.
Second one?
Second one, yeah.
Whoa, he's signed 2 in a row here. We're overworking him already. First night out.
I think he usually charges for autographs.
Oh, really?
It's true.
Okay, so, let's see, Mike, would you read 6 Cantor Way into the record, please?
Where are we? 6 Cantor Way. Okay, 6 Cantor Way, owner Martha J. Cantor requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of a second story to a pre-existing non-conforming detached garage with a deck, stairs, and landing off the garage on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 119, parcel 1B, Mashpee, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Again, for the record, Attorney Christopher Corain, representing the property owner Martha Cantor. She is the owner of 6, I have it as 6 Cantor Lane.
We've got it as way.
Yeah, it's way.
We have way.
Site plan says Cantor Lane.
I don't think it's
Yeah, we've got one.
substantive, but
How many do we have? Well, I don't have many, so go ahead.
I'll share one.
oh, the deed says way, but I think the town has it as lane, so.
But the deed says way?
Yeah, but
Don't
the
get
deed-
me going
I know.
on deeds.
Who's on this again?
So you're on. Yep.
Yeah, I think it is lane. I think the town has it as lane, Cantor Lane. So, but this is a request to alter a pre-existing non-conforming structure, which is a detached garage under 174-17. So I'll just note on the site plan, there is a single-family residence here that there's no work proposed as part of this application. We are just dealing with the highlighted garage here. So what the applicant is proposing is an alteration to that garage by adding a second story and a set of stairs that will access that second story. So this is in the R3 zoning district, so again, we need 40,000 square feet minimum lot area, 150 feet of frontage, 40-yard front yard setback, 15 side and rear setbacks, 20% lot coverage max, 50 feet setback to wetland. So we have 2 nonconformities. So our one nonconformity is with the lot. It's an 18,039 square foot lot. There's no flood zone impacting it. This is 18,039 square feet. And our front yard setback to the garage is only 15.6 feet, where 40 feet is required. The house is not conforming to the front yard setback as well, but again, we're not proposing anything to the house. So basically, all we're doing is going up and then adding a stair. So the stair is going on this side of the house, and that is a conforming condition, and it will remain a conforming condition. So we're not going to be intensifying any existing nonconformity. So the one nonconformity, which is the front yard setback, it's not being changed, because again, we're just going up. And the lot coverage will be going from 11.1% to 11.9%. So really a minimal increase in the lot coverage, which is really due to the set of stairs, because again, the garage is just going up. So again, no new nonconformities being created. There's no intensification of the existing front yard nonconformity. As noted by Board of Health, there's an IA system going in as part of this project, so that's obviously a benefit. And, you know, again, I've given you pictures of some of the surrounding houses on Cantor Lane and Secaucet Point. Certainly, this is not inconsistent with any of the development in that area. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
So is this gonna be like an in-law apartment? There's gonna be a kitchen up there as well as a bath, or what's the deal?
Yeah, there is going to be living space above.
So that raises a lot of, why don't we just read some letters of
got
record, and then
Board
we'll,
of Health and
there's gonna be a lot of.
Conservation. Board of Health relative to 6 Cantor Way. Septic submitted to zoning shows upgrade of septic with IA technology with an increase in flow. 3 bedrooms in main house and 1 new bedroom above garage. Septic plan must be submitted to Health Department permittees for official review when building permit is pulled. And Cantor Way for conservation, Resource Areas Buffer Zone to Coastal Bank, RDA application was approved unanimously due to IA septic upgrade is in the outer buffer zone to the coastal bank and will be an improvement to the site. Second floor addition and deck addition is outside of wetland jurisdiction. And nothing else, and no letter from abutters that I'm aware of.
Okay, board questions.
Just, it's more of a building question, but I wish Dave was here. I'm not sure, but I think this needs two means of egress, if it's gonna be living space above the garage. It's got the stairs. Maybe one of those windows are considered egress-sized windows, I'm not
Is
sure.
there stairs going into the interior of the garage?
They're outside, they're
Just
outside.
there's only an exterior set of stairs. But
I don't
that's,
see how that
I
can be.
don't, I don't know if it's a zoning.
Buildings
Really, a
wouldn't,
building, that's a building
buildings wouldn't
commission
approve
question.
it unless
Well,
they,
that's my point, I think it's more
but
of a building.
if the window, I've been through this with another person, the window has to be a certain dimension,
That's what I said.
or
I'm
they
not
won't
sure if
approve
these
the
are egress-
project.
I'm looking at the model
Yeah,
number,
but how
I
about
think it is a egress-sized window, but.
What
I-
happens if it's 8 feet off the ground, though?
It
Doesn't
is.
matter, it's an egress.
It's an egress.
Well, I guess here's the
The
best
in-laws
statement,
have a
I
long
think
way
this
to
is
go.
a statement to be made. You know the motion's gonna include something, if there were a motion to be made, that's gonna say any change to these plans. So if they have to add another means of egress, they're gonna come back.
Yeah, absolutely, and
Yeah,
Because that's gonna change lot coverage.
I don't think my
Right.
question is the zoning, more of the building question.
But it could become zoning.
it could,
Exactly.
absolutely.
That's
Well,
why, that's the only reason I brought it up.
right, and again, you know, obviously, your motions always include language that it's gotta be approved by any other board,
I'm pretty
so.
sure that's an egress side, well, there's 4 of them. Some of these
Yeah.
ones definitely are not egress side, but 4 I think are. So,
And I understand that you're taking a roof off, putting a store on, putting a roof on top, which you're not gonna create any new non-impervious material, situation, in that it's the same coverage.
Correct, that is correct, we're not
I
other
was
than,
gonna say I'd like to see some drainage, but
right.
I guess I'd be going overboard on that.
Other than the
Exactly,
only thing that's expanding the footprint is the stairs.
exactly. So
that's it.
I'm,
and the
I'm
lot
okay.
coverage changes on here?
yeah, lot coverage is
11.1
just the
to
stairs.
11.9.
Yep,
Okay, yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
All right, board questions?
So you're not going up at all? Same
No,
place?
No, it's going up,
Going up one story.
it's going up one story.
Gonna take the
that roof
existing roof
off.
off, go up a story, and put the roof back
So
on.
how high is it gonna be?
What's it, 35?
35 feet is your regulation, this is well
Not gonna
under,
be anywhere near that.
it's not anywhere near 35 feet.
Okay.
Is it on the house
I
plans?
bet it's under 25.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, I'm seeing if he's put it on here, but I don't,
No, those plans are very big.
yeah, they're
Make
kind
sure
of,
it's,
I'm gonna
Hey,
say- I'll
stop
say
it.
Need a rope ladder if there's a fire?
It says
Yeah,
ridge.
put one in the window.
Roof trusses. Yeah, he didn't give us the height. They should, but they didn't.
Well, as we've stated more times, more times than not,
And I
I
could
mean, he's
scale
gotta
it,
get
but
by, you know, the,
gotta get by David for
building
the height.
enforcement officer.
I could scale it,
Silly.
it's nowhere near.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm
Looks
curious
like it's
whether or
about,
not,
it's a 5-6 pitch? Yeah. He'd have to go some to get that over.
It's in the low 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, so audience, anyone in the audience? No, Mr. Morris is not here. Go back to board questions. Any further board questions? Seems like a pretty simple application. It's going up one story. Same impervious material, surface, so there's not any more runoff. Straightforward. All right, can I get-
One other question, sorry.
Certainly.
How's it gonna be heated?
that I don't know. I don't know what the existing heating system is. I don't know if they have gas out there, or whether it would be electric or propane. I don't know.
Okay. Be cold in the winter.
It could be, but I'm sure they have accounted for it or something, because I mean,
There's
if
no way the
you,
furnace in the main house is gonna supply that.
yeah, right, yeah, I don't,
No, it'd have to have its own system of some
Well, they
sort.
could put even a mini
You could put a
split
mini
probably,
split.
yeah,
yeah.
they could do, yeah.
It's just-
But you're right, I mean, that's,
Heat pump?
Doesn't really affect us, does it?
No, it's not. a
doesn't,
zoning.
but if
Oh,
George,
it was back before when we wouldn't allow heated spaces. Which
but George has the right to ask the question. If you want to condition or whatever, that's up to you.
No, it's okay.
No, I apologize, I don't have the
It
answer to
used to
that
be an
one.
issue.
I
That's what I thought.
Usually I just ask about setbacks and things, not necessarily what they're doing inside.
You know what color the paint on the walls?
Mitsubishi things.
You know what color the paint on the walls?
Any other
George wants to
questions?
keep you on your toes.
I know, he definitely does.
Any other questions?
What's the trim color?
Hey, let's stay on board here, would you please?
Okay.
Do I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make that motion to close the
I have a
public
second.
hearing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, do I have a motion for, in reference to the application?
Sure, I got it.
Yes,
Can
Charlie,
make my way
please.
through.
Might as well, as long as I'm not wearing you out.
Hey, 6 Cantor Way, owner Martha J. Cantor requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of a second story to a pre-existing, non-conforming detached garage with a deck, stairs, and landing off the garage on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 119, parcel 1B, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number 1, board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a written finding under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 6. Number 2, site plan, 6 Cantor Lane, Mashpee, Mass, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, date 2/21/24, drawn by JDR sheet 1 of 1. Job number 5134, revised 5/30/24, property deck landing, revised 6/8/24, revised by attorney, prepared by Cawley Site Services, LLC, stamped and signed by Richard J. Hood, PLS number 35031. 3, floor plan, prepared for Cantor, date 12/18/23, A-1, second floor plan, garage level plan, A-3, design plan. Number 4, conditioned on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. Number 5, any changes to the plan will require the applicant to return to this board. And number 6, the board finds that the proposed project under 174-17 and 174-33 is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
That's enough.
Are you presenting Kim Path, Chris?
Jesus.
Scott's gonna
You get a
step
home
down.
run here.
I know, it's a nice night.
Scott's gonna step
night
down on
long.
Kim Path. So what we'll do, George, you did this one, right?
I did.
So what we'll do is Mike and Charlie when we're ready, and maybe George, you can read it in the record when we're ready. How's that?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that where Peter Alberico lived, Ken Path?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
Pop,
believe
that's
so.
it.
Yeah.
Corner of Shore and whatever it was. I don't think it was Kim.
Okay.
Am I getting cooties from all these? I may be out of work for the next month.
You gotta bring some hand sanitizer to the,
Yeah, I mean, hello, I'm gonna dive into it from all the stuff that's going on in the town hall.
oh, I heard.
It's unbelievable.
I'm going for a shot tomorrow.
Am I good to step out?
COVID. So, matter of fact, maybe we can make it there tonight.
Okay, so again, to be tried, there are 3 regular members. It'll be Mike, it will be Charlie, and George, if you would read 54 Kim Path into the record, please.
54 Kim Path. Owner John J. and Christine S. Mizzi request a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace a pre-existing non-conforming single-family structure on property located in R3 and Pompanesett overlay districts, map 117, parcel 96, Mashpee, Mass.
Okay, Counselor.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Again, for the record, Attorney Christopher Corain, representing John and Christine Mizzi, the owners of 54 Kim Path. We have filed for a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33 to raise and replace an existing single-family dwelling and replace it with a new single-family dwelling. This home is located within the Pompanesett Overlay District. So again, those minimum dimensional requirements are 6,000 square feet of lot area, 60 feet of frontage, 25-foot front yard setback, 15-foot side and rear yard setbacks, 25% max lot coverage, and 50 feet setback to wetland, and you have a 30-foot height limitation. we have 4 nonconformities. So this lot is completely within the flood zone. So for zoning purposes, again, we have 0 square feet of lot area. However, the actual total area of lot is 7,125 square feet. But again, because of waiting place case, 0 square feet of lot area. The 50-foot setback to wetland is a nonconformity because, again, we are wholly within the flood zone. We have 100% lot coverage, and we have 1 side yard nonconformity. So the southwesterly side yard setback, I believe here, is existing at 13.4 feet. So that is a nonconforming condition. So those are your 4 nonconformities. So the existing structure as a percentage of your 7,125 square feet is 20.8%. We are increasing the amount of structure on the lot by approximately 287 square feet. So that increase gives us a percentage as a percentage of the total lot area of 24.83%, which is under 25% under your old calculations. The southwest side yard setback is being improved. So we're going from 13.4 feet to 14.5 feet. So there's an improvement of that nonconformity. There are no other nonconformities being created, and we're not, as I said, as opposed to intensifying the one nonconformity, we're improving it. The building will be flood zone compliant. It will be building code compliant. An IA system will be installed as part of this project. There are dry wells being proposed. There is no increase of the current bedroom count. It's been approved by conservation, and it's certainly consistent with the other homes on Keith Path and behind it Nick Trail. And I saw that there were several letters from abutters in support of this project. So again, under 174-17-1, you have to find that there's no new nonconformities created. We're not creating any new nonconformities. We have sufficient parking. Again, in residential districts, you need 2 parking spaces. There'll be a driveway. And also that there is no, what we're doing is not going to be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. So again, I would suggest to this board that we are doing that by improving the one nonconformity, staying under the 25%, creating a flood zone compliant house, creating a building code compliant house, having an IA system as part of this project, having dry wells, having an approval from the Conservation Commission, which includes mitigation, and no increase in flow. The existing amount of bedrooms is staying the same, and it is consistent with other development in this neighborhood. With that, I'm happy to turn it over to the board for any questions.
Why don't we read the letters into the record, please, Charlie?
Yeah, we have Board of Health relative to 54 Kim Path. Septic submitted to zoning shows upgrade of septic with IA technology, 3-bedroom. Doors cannot be put on loft. Septic plan must be submitted to Health Department permittees for official review when building permit is.
So if there were a motion to be made, we want to state that including but not limited to Board of Health.
Yep.
Thank you.
Kim Path Conservation. Resource areas LSC, SF, and buffer zone to coastal dune. NOI application was approved unanimously due to improvements to the property through an IA septic upgrade, improved water storage capacity, and mitigation plantings, with conditions of a 1-year mitigation and monitoring contract with a qualified professional, and all lawns must be composed of a native clover mix. And we have correspondence from abutters, a letter of support from Karen Jalkut and I do not have any objections to your petition before the Mashpee ZBA scheduled for hearing on August 14th. Please feel free to share this email with the ZBA. For the sake of the ZBA, I point out that Karen and I reside at 75 Nick Trail, Mashpee, and we are direct abutters to your residents at 54 Kim Path, William Jalkut and Karen Jalkut. Letter dated August 5th, 2024, from Stephen and Susan Krupski. As owners of 43 Kim Path and neighbors of the Mizzies at 54 Kim Path, we are writing in support of their raise and replace project on our street. We have seen the plans for their proposed new house and believe it will enhance the appearance of the street and the local neighborhood. We are in total support of their proposed project. Thank you. And I have another letter from Jean Ganako, 54 Kim Path. Just a quick note to express our support for the Mizzi family in the construction of their new home. We're very excited about the project and have full confidence it will be completed following all necessary guidelines. John and Christine have taken their time with all aspects of construction planning and landscape considerations. Nothing about this project has been rushed. We are excited for the Mizzi family for the joy this beautiful home will bring them with everlasting memories for generations to come. As residents, we thank the board for the diligent work you do. So we have 3 letters in support and the conditions imposed by the Board of Health.
Thank you. Any others?
One more, Charlie.
This is a repeat.
Board
Just a
question.
question is, how much weight do we put on these things, or anything? Is
Well,
it-
as
what's the-
one member, I can say that if the abutters are happy to see what's going on, it makes me feel a little bit better, frankly, because I'm not living next door, they are. Not that I would change my whole thinking based on it, but I certainly it would have a weight for me. It would matter to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. But, you know, we have guidelines
Yeah.
that are set in place.
But
right here.
which means this is, I mean, I'm glad you're feeling happy about this, but the guidelines dictate what we
Oh,
determine,
no question.
correct?
I mean, there are some concerns that we've been talking about right here. There's gonna be some concerns raised. This application may or may not go forward based on some other issues. Simply because we have a letter stating that we're in favor, it does not mean that we're gonna approve it.
Okay, thank you for the,
Certainly, it's better than having 10 letters in the file saying we're against it.
We don't want it.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But still, that does not, it does not
Affect the decision.
totally affect the decision based on other criteria such as flooding, you know, and several other criteria.
Right.
So to answer your question, it means something. It has some significance.
Well, I think the phrase at the end, the detrimental to the neighborhood.
Yes.
It's helpful to know that the neighborhood is in favor.
Exactly.
Also helpful to know that
But
they're
as a
against
board,
it.
we need to look at, they may not even understand, because they're not looking at a plan per se, let's say a site plan, and they may be novices, so we need to go beyond that sometimes, like we're probably gonna do in this aspect.
Good point, good point.
Yeah, I mean, so, as a board, we're looking at this plan, and Jonathan's brought up a couple things, and so we'll see what goes on. So, board questions and input, that's next. Jonathan?
My first one, and it's really my only one, is that whole area, Kim Path,
Yeah,
winter, it's a joke. It's all flooded.
okay,
Currently, there's a cobblestone driveway,
yep.
proposed paved driveway. Where's that water gonna go? Right to the street?
Well, I'm not an engineer,
Good answer.
but I know generally this board wants to make sure that all runoff stays on site. And if that's a condition of this permit, then that's what the applicants have to live with, or if they're not going, to, you know.
May I see the site plan?
We condition it like we said. Yep.
I mean,
So that being said,
I'm surprised that conservation,
Maybe an oversight.
right, maybe.
Didn't even
I
see
mean,
it.
then let's talk about dry wells. I mean, it looks like there's one there, but doesn't look like there's any study where, in reference to, you know, event. Is it a 25-year storm, a 50-year storm?
Yeah, I don't know if,
I think we have to be very careful in this location, simply because we all know that there's issues there.
Huge issues.
So we have to be very careful here, right?
right. Yeah, I mean, there's a dry well here, there's a dry well here.
Right, but the question is, Chris, so that dry well, what's the design criteria? I think specifically this one, they've got to tell us the design criteria and whether it's DEP or NOAA, because that's huge. I need to understand this.
Okay.
I might even do the calcs on this one just to understand. I need to see some drainage calculations. I really do, because as you stated prior to this, making certain that the water stays on this lot is imperative. And the information I think we have in front of us, I'm not so sure we can make that decision right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that, if anybody's ever been down Pompanesett
Yep.
during the winter, rainstorm, those streets flood like hardly can drive down there. So it's a
Yeah, I wish I had,
tricky area,
Yeah.
and for the most part, a lot of those streets are below sea level.
I mean, Chris, I think it's important that BSS is here to answer questions. And I mean, for me, I'm bordering on peer review on this one. And I don't want to go that route because it's creating a precedent that I'd rather not go there, because it's a single-family residence. But this is in an area that we know floods quite commonly.
yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say about that specifically about, you know, the peer review and the drainage, I mean, I understand the driveway concern, because it does look like we're going from a potential pervious to, or pervious to impervious, but, you know, we're only increasing the overall coverage of 200 by about 287 square feet.
And I'm not saying I'm gonna go, I'm just saying that, I'm not saying to go peer review. I think that's a very bad place to go.
Right.
Although I'm just concerned that this is beyond my pay grade. I'm not an engineer either, as you stated, you're not. And it's imperative, though, we have something on a piece of paper from an engineer that puts a stamp on a plan that signs it, that says all water staying on this site.
So, so obviously what I'm hearing from this board is they'd like to have me come back on the 28th. I can either, it probably makes sense for me to have Mr. Bunker here that night.
Yes.
He was also, I'm pretty confident that he was involved in conservation, so he may be able to answer the question about the driveway, you know, that obviously was approved. And I can certainly, if it becomes that much of a concern to the board, I can certainly talk to the client about, you know, is the paved driveway going to make or break this project?
Well, and second, I think, as important, if not more important, there's gotta be a statement made by Mr. Bunker and backed up by a piece of paper sign that says up to a flood event or a storm event of, the water will stay on the site. 25 feet, whatever that may be. Frankly, I'd like to see minimum 25.
Okay.
You know, and that means all water on the site. That's roof drainage, et cetera. And please don't have them put the typical overflow situation in that design.
Yep.
That just freaks me out. I don't understand why people do that.
Right. And I don't think,
And make sure he provides the calculations on the plan. And if I can see the plan before, Mary Ann, I'll run the calculations.
yeah, I mean, obviously we got to get that plan into you the Friday before the hearing, so.
Yeah, and what I'll do is, if he uses rationale method right, I can put it in easy. If he doesn't, it makes, you know, my brain has to work a little bit more.
Okay, so the things that this board is looking for our next hearing is more detail about the dry wells as far as a 25, making sure that they're designed for at least a 25-year storm event, calculations, NOAA versus DEP, and then maybe just some clarification on the driveway issue.
Yeah, and, you know, if it was approved to put a paved driveway, I want to know how they're going to stop the runoff
Right.
going into the street.
Sure.
Chris, I've got a question about the conservation. Where it says mitigation plantings with conditions of a one-year mitigation and monitoring contract with a qualified professional, and all lawns must be composed of a native clover mix. Are we talking about a qualified professional relative to the mitigation plantings?
That is my understanding, yes.
What happens after that year?
They're free to go.
Free to go, I guess.
I do that most towns, so I'm in
Yeah.
Just the
Gloucester
1
now,
year, yeah.
and I have to get invasive species out whenever I plant. You go for 1 year. Once they prove to be healthy for that 1 year, then you're off the hook.
Right, they want to
Somebody
make
has
sure,
to sign off
right.
at the end of that year.
At the end of the year, yeah, so at the end of the year, what would happen, presumably, this happens in most towns where I go to, is you have to have a consultant sign off saying that they're healthy, you know, an arborist or something like that, submits it to the board goes out, does an inspection, let's say Drew would do that, concurs with the arborist, whoever, and then they're off the hook and you can move forward.
All right.
Right.
So we don't need to change any of the language that conservation put in relative to mitigation. That's all I wanted to
Don't
make sure.
think so, but, yeah, I understand why
I'm good.
you're asking it.
Is there anything else about the project that I should be looking at.
I think it's fine. I mean, it's, from one member, I'm okay with it. It's just, as we all know in this room,
Yep.
there are some issues there. We don't want to make them worse.
Yep, absolutely.
That's our primary function, right, sitting here is, if we're aware of an outstanding issue, it's our job to make sure it doesn't get worse.
Right,
Right?
right. So I am happy to request a continuance until August 28th.
So could someone make a motion, please, to accept the applicant's attorney's request to a continuance until, what was that? Dave?
August 28th,
August
I
28th,
believe.
Sorry.
August 28th?
A motion
Yes.
for continuance.
Charlie, could you help him with that?
That was a good one. A motion has been received requesting a continuance of the applicant until the meeting of August 28th. So the motion before the board is whether to accept or reject that motion.
Correct.
I mean, my motion wasn't good enough for
Well,
you?
he's had years of learning, right? He's an attorney.
I say a lot of words without meaning.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion on the floor asking for a continuance from the attorney in reference to this application till August 28th. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody. That's all I got tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
Have a good night.
Good night.
You're done?
I'm all done.
You're done with it.
Oh, isn't that nice?
And I got you basically an hour and 15 minutes.
Good work.
All right, we have,
Mine was half hour.
Pinecrest still on?
All right, so sitting on the next one, which will be Three Pine Crest, will be, let's see, I'm all mixed up because we've been going in, out, left, right. So it's
We'll
gonna be
get
the four
Scott's
regular
back.
members. And
Be George this time.
George, how's that? Perfect. There you go.
Got it.
George, you'll sit and, so
Scott's
really, we
back.
can move forward right now.
Yes, he
You
is.
all set, Scott?
Yep.
So Three Pine Crest, let's see, Mike, how about you reading it into the record?
Sure.
Three Pine Crest, please.
3 Pinecrest Avenue, petitioner Michael S. Canada requests a written finding under 174-17 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of a 3-season room above a pre-existing, non-conforming attached garage on property located in an R5 zoning district, map 49, parcel 168, Mashpee, Massachusetts, owner of record Lorraine E. Barry, trustee of the K&M Realty Trust.
Good evening, guys. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Good evening.
Mike Canada here, representing the Barrys in this case. It's a very simple permit application I submitted, and Dave kicked it back. Apparently, the existing garage that's there now has a flat roof, and it's a rubber roof, and it's been problematic for the family for a number of years, as some flat roofs, as you know, can be. It's leaked and done damage on the inside, and so they decided, well, maybe we could put 3 walls and a roof over the top of this thing. So that's what they would like to do. They want to take this existing garage and put 3 walls and a roof over it. No heat, no potable water, just a 3-season room. There is absolutely 100% of the work does not touch the ground. There's no proposal of any footprint change. All of this work would be on top of the existing garage. So that's it. It's just that the existing garage apparently was built in '88, I think. And I believe it was built with a variance, so therefore this alteration, I would call it, needs to get your blessing.
Okay, so Charlie, could you read in the record any letters, please?
Board of Health, no comment to remain 3-bedroom. Conservation, not within wetland jurisdiction. Nothing from any neighbors or abutters.
Is that the extent? Okay, board questions, please.
I just want Scott to look over any issues with it being closed in and being called a bedroom that you
Well,
might
it's not
see.
a heated space, it's
It's not heated.
not a heat.
So I would presume whoever makes the motion, Charlie, we want to
Remains
make
unheated.
certain that it's no heat, right? It's not, so it would be habitable space because it's
It would be, but it'd be awful cold in the winter.
but it's not going to be heated, right? So that's very
Correct.
important.
The only access is that slider? Existing
Correct.
slider to
The existing
front.
slider from the existing
They're not
house.
moving the slider, so they're not,
The slider's staying. That's their thermal break.
Yeah,
So Charlie, it would be no heat, right?
it would have to be, I would think would be conditioned on that,
Yeah.
because that's what they're applying for.
That certainly
You're
would
okay
change
with
the
that,
world for.
That's what they want.
Yeah,
They don't, they just want a three-season
No
room.
issues then?
not if they're gonna, not submitting it the way he's submitting it.
Okay.
Okay, any other board questions? Audience, there's no audience. Mr. Morris, Mr. Morris. Okay. He took the day off, the night off, so, any board questions? Nope. Again, all right.
Existing non-conforming.
Can I, so, let's talk about that for a second, I guess. So you're not creating any new nonconformities, not creating any lot, change in lot coverage?
Nope. It's all up above the ground.
And no heats to be added.
And no
at any
heats in the
point.
building, yep.
What about height? No issues on that, right?
No, it's very
lower than
low.
the existing ridge.
Can I get a motion to close the public hearing,
I'll
please?
make the motion to close the
Can I
public
get a
hearing.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to reference the application? Charlie?
Okay.
Please.
3 Pinecrest Avenue, petitioner Michael S. Canada requests a written finding under 174-17 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of a three-season room above a pre-existing non-conforming attached garage on property located in an R5 zoning district, map 49, parcel 168, Mashpee, Mass. Owner of record Lorraine E. Barry, trustee of the K&M Realty Trust, with the following conditions. Motion, number 1. The board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a written finding under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 6. Number 2, as-built plot plan, Lot 104 Pinecrest, prepared by Land Use Technology, Inc., job number 811385, date 11/26/88, client Barry, scale 1 inch equals 40 feet, stamped and signed by Charles Scott Kennedy, professional land surveyor, number 12454. Number 3, building plans prepared for 3 Pinecrest Avenue, Mashpee, Mass, proposed season room, date 12/20/23, prepared by JB Designs. 4, condition on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments, no heat to be added at any point in time in the future to the area in question. Any changes to the plan will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, the board finds that the proposed project under 174-17 is not substantially more detrimental to the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood. That's it.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
I saved the easiest one for the last, right?
Yep.
Simplest go.
Actually, tonight's
Don't
a
wanna
relatively easy.
explode
most
your
of
brains
them.
at the end of the night.
Tonight was an easy night, actually.
Look at your project.
So,
Thank you very much for your time, guys.
you, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
here you go. You enjoying yourself, Mike?
Yeah, it was interesting.
There you
I
go.
mean, I'm not in agreement with I take into consideration the neighbors. What the hell do they know? I mean, that's
Well, so
nice.
let
It's
me
a good
give you a
feeling.
comparison.
It's a fuzzy feeling, but
Well, it's a
it's,
good time to talk about it, though. So let's just say that they're getting a little closer to a lot line or something, and it's your lot line, and you're living there.
yeah, but that's not gonna happen very often if their footprint is expanding, right?
No, but it could happen. Let's say you have a pre-existing nonconformity, which is the closest to my lot line. And
Yeah.
I'm living there, and I give the board a letter saying, I'm okay with it. Who's the most affected? Me.
Well, that's a fair
I
point.
take that into consideration. I sit there and say, you know what, if that most affected person is okay with it,
Well, how about if your neighbor is 18 feet from the lot line, and or let's say 26 feet from the lot line, and he moves it to 15, 10 feet closer to your house? Some neighbors might not be happy
Well,
with
it's
that.
a question of law then, isn't it? That's what it is. It's not a question of whether the guy likes it or not. If the guy wants to extend and he's within the.
no, but many
But if
times
he's
it's not a
already-
question of law, it's a question of our opinion, whether it's more detrimental or not. And if I have a letter from an abutter saying they're against it, they're not in favor of it, in my brain, it starts to become more detrimental. See what I'm saying? We have a lot of objectivity, and so when we look at something, I need to look at the whole thing globally. You know what I mean?
More detrimental is hard.
A lot of people will say, I don't want it, I don't like it, because it affects their view, but that's,
Yeah.
the way I look at it is, should have bought the house closer to the water.
Right.
And you'll see as you,
I'm not
as you
gonna
get,
listen, I'm losing my view as detrimental.
as you get more involved,
Yeah,
you'll
he's every right to do
you'll
what he
see what it
wants
would
with his
mean.
house,
There's
within the
no
boundaries.
no view
Yeah,
bylaw.
we'll get some real tricky stuff coming.
All right, so can I get a motion in reference to the minutes of July 24th? I know we all read them.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't have any topics from the chairman whatsoever. There's a couple things I'd like to close in on in reference to drainage or whatever, but I haven't been able to deal with it, so.
Mary Ann, I did not let you know that I had agreed with all of those
Let's not make
findings.
a
I
motion
do.
to close
I read them and I agree with them, if you need that in.
So would you like to make a motion, Mike?
To,
Close the
Close the
meeting.
meeting.
yes.
You
I'd
got
like
it.
to-
Now, let's hear it.
To
Now, go
close the
ahead.
meeting.
No, I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to close the August 16th, 14th, what is it? 14th meeting of the ZBA. What else do I need to say?
Excellent.
Great.
I'll second.